Off is a game made in 2008 by this person, Mortis Ghost. It's an RPG about ridding evil spirits, discovering a unique dystopia, and ultimately destroying it all from ever existing. There's a mysterious aura around Off. It's not just an RPG, it's an Earthbound influenced RPG. You don't need to know much about Earthbound, all you need to know is that it has a cult following. And it doesn't just have a cult following. Let me put it like this, if Earthbound was a person, they would make the Jonestown Massacre look, smaller. Earthbound's cult following usually translates into the games it influences, and Off is no exception. This was the 6th most reblogged game on Tumblr in 2013. That does not just happen, let alone on Tumblr. Remember Tumblr? I kinda wish I didn't. Despite being popular in 2013, no one really talks about Off nowadays, and there's a pretty simple answer as to why. You see, in 2015, there was this small indie title called Undertale, and like small indie titles do, it overshadowed every game in its subgenre. But despite adversity, Off still has a dedicated following of people that go, "Oh, Off. I remember that game." I figured now would be the best time, 13 years after the game was released, to talk about it. Forgive me for taking so long. I was a different person back in 08. Where you start the game, and it tells you immediately that you're assigned to a being called the Batter, and you're on a mission. Now because I kinda spoiled this game in the first 30 seconds, you kinda know this mission is about ridding evil spirits. The whole end of the thing world comes later, just watch. You get sent to some solid Lego brick area called Zone 0. Then a Cheshire cat called the Judge comes up to you and finds out you're purifying the world. Now, I'm no historian, but saying those words in that order has never ended well. All you really need to know about Zone 0 is that it's the tutorial level, except this is an RPG, so all you do is just press the same button over and over. Zone 1 is where the game actually starts. You meet these people called... They make that sound the entire game, don't they? I really didn't like that noise, so I ended up muting the game and listened to copyright music instead. So if you're wondering what my thoughts on the soundtrack are... After you fiddle-diddle around, you find your first battle. You might have noticed these areas are usually subject to one color. I actually like this, especially with the black and white characters. It's a really good case of doing less with more. The character designs are also really well done. They all look like low-resolution notebook doodles. The more you discover about this world, you begin to realize that living conditions are second to that of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Just like Earth, there are 4 elements: smoke, metal, plastic, meat. I can't help but feel like they're trying to tell me something. You meet this person whose personality trait is that they're quite rude. It turns out they're the boss of the zone, so you just fucking kill them. Yeah, that's what you get for calling me stupid. Zone 2 has a bird, and birds are cool. It crawls outside of this cat who happens to be the Judge's brother. I slammed a big bat onto the bird until it couldn't fly anymore. I guess that makes it chicken. Zone 3 offers a few new things, most notably a new element, sugar. It's easy to compare sugar to cocaine in this game, but I find that to be unfair. It's literally just regular granulated sugar, but the lives of the people here are so miserable. Always getting yelled at, threatened by some bullshit, and breathing in literal smoke that, you know what, they're probably better off with the sugar. Oh, what's that? It turns out the sugar is made from dead people? You make a convincing counter-argument, game. Look at this guy. He's large, in charge, and is about to bash your fucking skull in. Well, running doesn't do much because he finds you regardless. Once you tank Fatty, he tells you that because the bosses are in control of the zones, said zones will now be devoid of life. Which they are. I didn't record any footage of the zones being devoid of life, but I can assure you they are. I'ma keep it 100 with you. I lose track of what the fuck goes on in the last chapter of the game. But here's what I can gather. The Batter was created by this baby that you see throughout the game. He created the world, and let's be honest here, he fucking sucks at playing God. He's the last enemy we see in the game, but you wouldn't murder a toddler, would you? After we decimate a newborn, we find a switch that turns the world off. But what's this? The baby wasn't the last enemy in the game, it's the Judge. Hi, Judge. As it turns out, eradicating the entire population doesn't sit well with someone called the Judge. He even goes after the player, you, asking if blindly massacring the world was worth it just to progress the mist of scenaristic frame. Which I mean, I definitely considered quitting the game when it erased my progress that one time. Secondly, the more I learned about this world, the worse it got. It kinda deserved to not exist. The only reason the people in the game didn't die of plague already was because half of their anatomy resembled that of a Barbie Ken doll. Thirdly, hold on you fucking pussy. Let's go back to the beginning of the game. You don't just get told to accomplish a mission. Don't you realize there's always a bigger fish? Anyways, I killed the stupid fucking cat. He was the best character in the game, by the way. Finally, you flip the switch and destroy it all from ever existing. Off was one of the first games of its kind. It had a lot of factors that influenced games after it. For example, the shopkeeper broke the fourth wall a lot, and it's very reminiscent of. There's also a more explicit theme of moral ambiguity in Off compared to an RPG like Fallout, which would give you at most a slap on the wrist when you made a town into your own personal bloodbath. Though with games like Off and Undertale, I'm pretty detached from feeling emotions when I commit genocide, because it's kind of like, yeah, killing the innocent is bad. Gamers game. It's what they do. They're not exactly searching high and low for natural law, clutching Heart of Darkness firmly between their hands. Rather, they're playing it. And when a game berates you for mindlessly beating up a cockney orphan, it's already making more of a statement than 99% of other games. Though people give way too much fucking credit for that Mirror in Undertale. I would not call Off a bad game, but many of its ideas have been refined through other games. Though what separates it as an RPG after all these years is the story it has. From what I've seen, Off has more of a Kafka-esque nature. The 3 zones you go through in this game are about exploring this cold, nightmarish world where it's held on the thinnest string of comprehension. It's really only the ending of the game that it becomes more psychologically engaging when it starts asking the player questions. The player is the only person not controlled by the law of the Babel. Therefore, we have nothing to keep us civilized as a player compared to the citizens, the bosses, and the judge. In other words, we're observers of this world, though the judge might call us rogue. So what did we learn today? Optimism doesn't come from the chance but from change? I don't know, I ain't your teacher.